Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Wednesday, January 11th, 2023, and I am here to talk to you guys about the NBA Main Slate tonight. We've got an 8-game slate. If you're new to the channel, if you would hit the like button and then hit the subscribe button. And then once you've done those two things, hit the alarm bell. That will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. So if you're new to DFS Coach Talk, if you haven't joined us yet, go to dfscoachtalk.com. We have memberships that start as low as $9 a week. And we will also be announcing our promo for the NFL playoffs. We've got a big promo coming up this weekend, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Really excited for you guys to see what we have to offer. The first game we have on tonight's slate is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Detroit Pistons. This game is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern. It has a 232 over-under. The Timberwolves are favored by 6. Looks like Kyle Anderson is going to be questionable. Same thing with Anthony Edwards. Jordan McLaughlin and Karl Anthony Towns are out. For the Pistons, Buddy Boeheim is a game-time decision. Marvin Bagley, Jalen Duren, and Isaiah Stewart are out. So the projected starting lineup right now we have for Minnesota, D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, as I mentioned, is questionable. Jaden McDaniels, Kyle Anderson, as I mentioned, is questionable, and Rudy Gobert. For the Pistons, you've got Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey. Bojan Bogdanovic will play. There were some questions as to whether he would be able to play tonight. He will play. Sadiq Bey and Nerlens Noel. For me in this game, my favorite plays on the Minnesota side. If Anthony Edwards plays, he's in a good spot. Detroit's allowed the most fantasy points to shooting guards this year. He's 9,100 on DraftKings, 8,600 on FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. I also like D'Angelo Russell. He's 7,400 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel, $27 on Yahoo. The Pistons have allowed the third most fantasy points to point guards. If Edwards is out, Jalen Noel is in play. He's 4,700 on DraftKings, 4,800 on FanDuel, $10 on Yahoo. And that, again, is only going to be he'll be in play if Anthony Edwards is out. For Detroit, Bojan Bogdanovic is 6,200 on DraftKings, 6,300 on FanDuel, $23 on Yahoo. He did score 45.5 DraftKings points against the Timberwolves on New Year's Eve. So just a little over a week and a half ago. He's averaged 40.3 DraftKings points the last 3 times he's faced Minnesota. So I do like Bojan Bogdanovic here. Hamidou Diallo is also a little bit of a value play. He's 3,800 on DraftKings, 4,400 on FanDuel, $11 on Yahoo. And in that New Year's Eve matchup, he had 34 DraftKings points. So for his price, really good value. And with that being said, we'll move on to the next game, 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Chicago Bulls and Washington Wizards. The Wizards are favored by 1.5. Game has a 229 over-under. Lonzo Ball, Tony Bradley, DeMar DeRozan, and Javonte Green are out for the Bulls. For the Wizards, the big news was Porzingis was ruled out. Vernon Carey is probable. Corey Kispert is questionable. Bradley Beal, Jonathan Davis, and Daniel Gafford are out. So for the Bulls, looks like their projected starting lineup is going to be Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. For the Wizards, Monty Morris, Corey Kispert if he plays, Kyle Kuzma, Rui Hachimura, and Taj Gibson. This game, the news changed a little bit from where I originally had it. So on the Bulls side, I do like Vucevic. He's 8,100 on DraftKings, 8,400 on FanDuel, $30 on Yahoo. He had 53.8 DraftKings points against them last time they faced each other on December 7th. And his last 5 games, he's averaged just over 48 DraftKings points per game. So I do like Vucevic in this spot, especially without Porzingis. I also like Kyle Kuzma on the other side. He's a little overpriced on DraftKings at 8,500, but I like him at 7,400 on FanDuel and $31 on Yahoo. The Bulls have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to power forwards, and he's scoring about 6 DraftKings points a game more without Porzingis playing. So he's about 44.75 without him versus 38.8 with him. You also can look at Denny Avdia, Rui Hashimura. I think they're also in play, but I'm primarily looking at Kuzma, the way the lineups are shaping up so far. Next game, we have my Milwaukee Bucks and the Atlanta Hawks. This game's featured on ESPN tonight. The Bucks are favored by 4.5. Is a 228.5 over under. The big news in this game is that Trae Young is out, as well as Clint Capella. And then for the Bucks, it's Serge Ibaka and Chris Middleton. So the projected starting lineup, we have Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Brook Lopez for the Bucks. For the Hawks, DeJounte Murray, AJ Griffin, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Onyeka Okongwu. And I don't have his name written down, but I will tell you that AJ Griffin had a monster game last time he faced the Bucks, so you can definitely keep an eye on him, as well as the plays that I'm going to go over here. Giannis, 11.8 on DraftKings, 11.6 on FanDuel, so he's below 12K on both sites. I do like that. The Hawks have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to power forwards. He's $55 on Yahoo. That's pretty much what he always is. And then I like Drew Holiday, 7,200 on DraftKings, 7,500 on FanDuel, $27 on Yahoo. He's averaged 46.5 DraftKings points the last 5 times that he faced Atlanta, and he had a 66 DraftKings points night on October 29th. So solid price on all 3 sites. I really like Drew Holiday in this matchup. And then on the other side, DeJounte Murray with Trae Young out. He's averaged 54 DraftKings points per game in 3 games without him this year. He's 8,200 on both DraftKings and FanDuel, $34 on Yahoo. He will be probably the highest owned player on the slate, but I think it's okay. I think he's good chalk. I also like Bogdanovich, which, as I mentioned earlier about AJ Griffin having a good game against the Bucks. I don't think Bogdanovich was in the lineup back then, so you can, keep that in mind. But I do like Bogdanovich here, 5,700 on DraftKings, 5,900 on FanDuel, $20 on Yahoo. And then, as I mentioned, AJ Griffin, with him starting. Let me go ahead and see how much he is, because I'm pretty sure he's really cheap. Yeah, he's 3,200 on DraftKings. He is 4,000 on FanDuel and $10 on Yahoo. So pretty much close to min on all 3 sites. He probably won't get a lot of ownership, but with him starting, I definitely think it's a viable option. Next game is going to be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the New Orleans Pelicans at the Boston Celtics. This game has a 231 over-under. The Celtics are favored by 9.5. Herb Jones looks like he's not going to play. He's questionable, leaning towards doubtful. Brandon Ingram, EJ Liddell, and Zion Williamson are out for the Pelicans. For the Celtics, Marcus Smart and Robert Williams were ruled out just a few minutes ago. And then, of course, Gallinari is still out. You have a projected starting lineup here for New Orleans: CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, Dyson Daniels, Najee Marshall, Jonas Valanciunas. For the Celtics, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Grant Williams, and Al Horford. This game I don't really like that much, but I do like basically the top 2 players from each side, I should say, in McCollum and Tatum. I also like Jaylen Brown, 9,400 on DraftKings, 8,500 on FanDuel, $38 on Yahoo. He had 53.5 DraftKings points last time he faced New Orleans. That was on November 18th. And then with Marcus Smart out, he was looking like he was going to be questionable, so I wasn't sure on this play. But with Smart out, I definitely think you could look at Malcolm Brogdon, 5,600 on DraftKings, 6,000 on FanDuel, and $18 on Yahoo. Let me go ahead and check the chat and see if you guys have any questions. Best 5 players from FanDuel and center. Just regardless of price. That's a tough one. I'll have to get back to you on that one because I haven't really thought about that. Next game, we have the Pacers at the Knicks at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Knicks are favored by 4.5 as a 226 over under. You've got TJ McConnell and Aaron Naismith are questionable. Kendall Brown and Daniel Theis are out, and nobody is listed on the injury report for the Knicks. They're pretty healthy. So for the Pacers, their projected starting lineup is Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Aaron Naismith, and Miles Turner. For the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. So for me in this game, I don't really like anybody from the Indiana side. They just haven't been playing all that great of late, and they haven't in this matchup done that well recently either. So I do like a few of the Knicks. Julius Randle is 10.5 on DraftKings, 10.2 on FanDuel, $44 on Yahoo. He's averaged 59.6 DraftKings points per game his last 10 games. I think he's a really good pivot in tournaments from Giannis. I also like Jalen Brunson as a pivot from DeJounte Murray. He's 8,200 on DraftKings, 8,300 on FanDuel, $33 on Yahoo. He scored 48.6 DraftKings points his last 5 games, so he's really playing well. You can get a little bit of a middle tier play here with Mitchell Robinson, 5,400 on DraftKings, 6,200 on FanDuel, $19 on Yahoo. He had 38.8 DraftKings points against Indiana on December 18th, and they have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to centers. So those are definitely some plays on the Knicks side that I like. And as I mentioned, there's not really anybody on the Pacers side that I feel that strong about right now. Next game we have at 8 p.m. Eastern, San Antonio Spurs at the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis is favored by a pretty strong 13.5 here. This is a 239 over under. So there's obviously some blowout potential in this game. If this game stays close, there are a couple plays that I like. I do like Jakob Poeltl, 6,300 on DraftKings, 6,400 on FanDuel, $23 on Yahoo. I also think Ja Morant is in place. The Spurs have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to point guards this year. He's 10.3 on DraftKings, 10.1 on FanDuel, $44 on Yahoo. And I also like Steven Adams, 6,000 on DraftKings, 7,300 on FanDuel, $26 on Yahoo. The $7,300 price on FanDuel is overpriced, so I'm probably not going to go to that. But on DraftKings and Yahoo, I do think he's in play. He's averaged 37.5 DraftKings points his 2 games against San Antonio this year, so I would expect around that again. At 6,000 on DraftKings and 26 on Yahoo, you're getting a pretty good return for your price on that one. Next game, we have the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. This game starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, so we're going back 2 hours here to 10 p.m. Eastern. This game is also going to be featured on ESPN. The Nuggets are favored by 13.5 as a 227 over under. The Suns are dealing with major injury issues. They have Ayton, Booker, Crowder, Johnson, Paul, Payne, and Shamet are all out. As we saw last night, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't compete. They did an awesome job last night in Golden State. Surprised a lot of people. I know it surprised me that they were able to hang in there with Golden State having a full roster, basically. So definitely was impressed by Phoenix. For the Nuggets, you have Bruce Brown, Bones Highland, and Zeke Naji that look like they're probable. And then Gillespie, Green, and Watson are out. The projected starting lineup for the Suns, Dwayne Washington, Mikal Bridges, Torrey Craig, Dario Saric, and Bismack Biyombo. The Nuggets, you've got Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Dwayne Washington will probably be one of the higher-owned players on the slate again, like he was yesterday. I do like him, and the same thing with Bridges. I like him as well. Bridges is 6,300 on DraftKings, 6,100 on FanDuel, $23 on Yahoo. And then Washington is 4,600 on DraftKings, really good price over there. 5,700 on FanDuel. Don't think that you have to go to that. And then $10 on Yahoo. I also like Torrey Craig and Damian Lee as a little bit of a value plays. Craig is 4,500 on DraftKings, 5,000 on FanDuel, $14 on Yahoo. It is a little bit of a revenge matchup for him. He used to play for the Nuggets. And then Damian Lee, 3,700 on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel, and $10 on Yahoo. For Denver, assuming they're able to keep this thing close, Nikola Jokic has the highest ceiling for me on this slate. He had 88.5 DraftKings points against Phoenix on Christmas Day. And so if he can keep this game close, I definitely like Jokic as my favorite pay-up. 11.6 on DraftKings, 11.5 on FanDuel, $57 on Yahoo. And then Jamal Murray, he's averaged just under 48 DraftKings points his last 5 games. He's 46.8 against them on Christmas Day against Phoenix. And he's only 6,900 on DraftKings and $27 on Yahoo. So really good price on those two sites. 8,000 on FanDuel, still doable, but not as good a value over there. And then Aaron Gordon, he had a really big game against Phoenix too. He had 51.8 DraftKings points on Christmas Day against the Suns. He's 6,700 on DraftKings, 6,800 on FanDuel, and $27 on Yahoo. So those three nuggets I definitely like. And then, one or two of the value plays that I mentioned on the Phoenix side. And that's about it for me. Look and see if there's any more questions. Al Horford. He's been real inconsistent lately. I'm not really too sure about him. Let me see where the Pelicans have done. They're about 9th against centers, so I guess maybe look at him. Let me see what Horford's done of late here. Yeah, his last game last game for Horford without Robert Williams was against Oklahoma City. He only had 6 DraftKings points, so that's not a good thing there. But before that, he had 47.8 against Minnesota, then 22, 16, and 24. So I don't really know if I would go to Horford. I think that I would look at. Let me see how much he costs first. 4,600. On DraftKings, 5,000 on FanDuel. I would probably look at, maybe a Mitchell Robinson, who's a little bit more than Horford, or who else could I recommend here? Maybe a Taj Gibson. He's probably min price. Not too sure about Horford tonight. Last game, you have the Houston Rockets at the Sacramento Kings. This also starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. Sacramento's favored by 9, has a 236.5 over-under. The only injury that we have in this game is Kevin Huerter for the Kings. He's questionable. The projected starting lineup for the Rockets is Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Eric Gordon, Jabari Smith, and Alperen Sengun. For the Kings, it's Fox, Huerter, if he plays, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis. So I'm just going to have to see if Huerter plays or not. But I don't really like anybody on the Houston side. And then Sabonis and Fox on the Kings. And then Huerter, if he plays, I do like him. Check and see here. Saric, Craig, Avdia be high owned on Yahoo. Saric is currently at 22%, so that's pretty high. Craig at 13 and Avdia at 0.4. So Avdia is definitely the lowest owned of those three. Can you rank Craig, Rui, Avdia, Saric, and Lee? Okay, so I would go with Rui, Craig, Saric, and Lee. And then Avdia. That looks like that is it for the last of the questions. For PrizePicks plays, let me go ahead and give you guys those real quick. My top 2 PrizePicks plays tonight are going to be, I do think the Suns will keep it close enough for Jokic to get his, fantasy score here. So DeJounte Murray more than 44.5 fantasy score, and then Nikola Jokic more than 54.5 fantasy score. So those will be my top 2 PrizePicks plays tonight. Looks like that's going to be about it for everybody's questions and everything. Once again, if you haven't joined us, please join us at dfscoachtalk.com. We have memberships as low as $9 a week. I will be back again tomorrow, and then Deb will be joining me on Friday for our Two Brains lineups. We'll vote on which site you guys want to go for on Friday, but look forward to that. And so I'll be back again tomorrow, guys, and we will be looking to crush it in NBA, DFS, and PrizePicks. Thank you.